you for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe. It just shows that you're supporting us and that you're enjoying the content. We will be leaving our email address in the description box below. Enlightened Living was created by Drew and I together. As you notice, I have been doing a few videos by myself without Drew. It's just been very busy lately for him. He's still very involved. Hopefully, coming soon, he will have a little bit more free time. His job is really crazy in the summer. I am very much looking forward to cooler weather so that I can get to spend a little bit more time with him and the kids, and that he can be a face on the videos more. Drew and I's journey as we grew as people, it's all about growth and optimal growth and using, your inner abilities and your personal abilities and harnessing them and using them to help you live your best life, be your best self, and strive daily, give off and radiate good energy, positive energy, and also allow and receive only good energy, and be very cautious of any negativity that you let in. By allowing it in, you essentially are taking it on. The first couple videos we did were about the law of attraction, how you can make the law of attraction work for you. We all have the ability to attract the life that we want. God gave us everything we need, and it's just in us. We have to almost, in a sense, activate it. The law of attraction is more or less like an umbrella. Under that umbrella, there are other laws that support the law of attraction. Let's go. I've been reading John Maxwell's book, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. The law of attraction is all about like attracts like. What you think, what you say, and what you do, you essentially are attracting that back into your life. I say that in every law of attraction video and probably every crystal video too. So always be mindful of your actions, your thoughts, and your words. It's all about us and what we're putting our mind and intention into. Intention is a word I just used, which is one of the laws, and we are going over that particular law today.
The law of intentionality.
Growing starts with attracting, starts with intention setting. We all have potential. We know we need to grow in order to get to our potential. Then we have to set our intention of growth to reach our potential. So that leads us to the law of intentionality. The law of intentionality basically is growth doesn't just happen. You have to be intentional. Do you have a plan for your growth? Do you have a plan of what your potential could be in your life? It's all about personal growth. This works for everyone. Growth personally is the goal. It will affect every aspect, whether you start off with your career as the main goal or with your relationships as the main goal. It will ultimately affect every single part of your life in a very positive way. Do you have a plan to become better? We all have things. Well, I'm doing this to get a raise at my job. I'm doing this to build my business. I do this because this builds this relationship with this person. I'm doing this so that I can reach this goal through my weight. But as an overall, do you have a plan for growth in the entirety of your life? Our answer is based on activity or the doing of something, not actually on improving what we're doing. When we start anything, and let's just say our career, we have every intention on being successful. We have every intention on reaching our goals. And we have every intention on working. Our strategy usually is hard work will get us where we want to go. That is true in some cases, but you will max out at some point with that mindset. This is all about challenging your mindset and just pushing it a little bit further than what you've ever thought of before, making you question things, having a little bit of discomfort when you find out that maybe your strategy wasn't so much of a strategy after all. Working hard does not guarantee success, and unfortunately, just hoping is not a strategy. How do you get better at what you do? How do you improve your relationships? How do you gain more depth and wisdom as a person? And all of those questions coincide with everything in our life. Career, relationship, or personal, anything like that. It all goes together. How do you find out the answer? How do you overcome the obstacles that you're going to face when you start to push your potential? Do you work harder? Do you work longer? Do you wait and hope for things to get better? These are all things that I really had to sit with myself and think. And at the beginning, I had no idea what the answer was. And it's okay if you don't either. I know that by the end of this, you will have the tools that you need to start setting your intention and living your life with intention. I believe that success came to anyone that just poured themselves into their career. They ate, they slept, they breathed their career. They were committed and they were dedicated. And yes, 100%, you have to be those things to have success in anything in life. The key to success, and I don't just mean in your career, but the key to overall life success, living your purpose, that kind of success, and living with intention is personal growth. Going back to the career, if you focus on a goal and you reach a goal, that goal, you've done it. You hit that benchmark. But that doesn't ensure growth. You just hit a goal. Did you grow in the process? If you focus on growth, you will grow and always hit your goal. If you focus on the goal, you may hit your goal, but not always grow. So there's a quote that I read, and it says, people are always anxious to change their circumstances, but not so willing to change themselves. That hits hard, especially if you're someone that likes to act on emotion, blame other people, or not really put responsibility on yourself. That's a hard pill to swallow. People are anxious to change their circumstances, but unwilling to change themselves. In most of our life, there's this gap, and it's the gap of growth, where it's just, we're here and growth is here. How do we get there? How do you fill that gap? If you have dreams and goals and aspirations, you have to grow to be able to achieve them, and achieve them in the way that you will feel fulfilled. If you don't have dreams, goals, or aspirations, I suggest you
the video
and go think about it, and then come back. Dreams, goals, and aspirations, they require growth. So there's these things that John Maxwell talks about in his book, excuses and things that we allow to restrict us. We essentially make them mistaken beliefs. That's what creates the gap between you and your potential. There's definitely a lot of misconceptions of growth or mistaken ideas of growth. When you truly understand something, you're able to apply it to your life in a more effective way. It's almost like studying for a test. If you're not prepared, you're not gonna ace the test. So you need to make sure that you really grasp and retain this information before you can actually apply it to your life in a way that's going to be long-lasting and effective. One of the first things we do is assume. My grandfather always says, assuming only makes an ass out of you and me. But it's so true. Don't assume. Assuming is a huge misconception that keeps us from reaching our potential, and it's a huge mistake. One of the biggest misconceptions of assuming that we put on ourselves and our potential is, I assume that I will automatically grow. I owned a salon for a couple years, and prior to that I did hair full-time, almost 50 hours a week for almost 15 years. And many times I saw young stylists come in and they were ready to hit the floor, and they got very discouraged very quickly when they assumed that they would just automatically grow because they started in a salon with their cosmetology license. Unfortunately, I wish it was that easy, but it's not, and that is a huge mistake and a huge burden that we put on ourselves, and then we essentially limit ourselves and our potential because we do get discouraged when we don't automatically grow. Honestly, assuming growth really isn't crazy. We grow automatically all the time when we're little. We grow from a newborn, we grow to a baby, we crawl, we walk, we're a toddler, we go to school, we grow in school, our feet are growing, our teeth fall out, we get new teeth, they grow in. We have to do nothing and growth happens. It's inevitable. So why would we, when we come into our adult life, expect growth to happen any different? You might think, well, duh, of course we have to intentionally grow. And yes, it makes sense when you say it, but subconsciously our whole entire life we have grown by default, grown without ever saying or being intentional with the growth. So at what point do we have to shift our mindset and say, I am intentionally setting growth into my life, or I am intentionally placing growth into my life, and I'm activating my potential? We start needing to not only grow in many aspects, but growing personally. We truly don't have to think about growth up until the fact we're an adult and we're stagnant or we've hit a plateau. What do you do? Once we reach that peak of our physical growth, there's still a lot of other aspects of our life. And you don't just grow by living. You grow by intention. A time comes when you need to stop waiting for the man you want to become and become the man you want to be. No one improves by accident. Everyone improves by intentional growth, by realizing that they have a potential greater than what their life is living or proving at that point. If you do have a career that required college or a trade school, you educate yourself and then you're ready to go to your career, and that's great. But it's like anything. Cosmetology school, I know, I have a lot of nurse friends. Even when they graduate, they go to, say, work at a hospital. They get there and realize that what they thought they knew is a lot less than what really happens in the actual day in and day out of the workforce. So yes, education, boom, you get your education, but there's still education that happens past that point. Same thing with personal growth. We have to make that conscious choice to continue to grow as a person and to continue to develop our personal self, our inner self. Peak self, that is where you will find enlightenment and start living enlightened. That's when you will find the sense of fulfillment. No one but you has the ability to take control of growth. Before your life can improve across the board, and that's in every aspect of your life, you must improve your inner self first. That requires looking in the mirror, saying, here I am, these are my faults, self-reflecting, self-evaluating, seeing these things that are ugly, and facing them head on, looking them in the eye and saying, why do you do this? And this is why. Taking it, understanding it, acknowledging it, and getting rid of it. But until you face it, it will always be there. You can never reach your full potential as a person and love wholeheartedly and unconditionally. You have to do that inner work, and only you hold that key. You have to make improving yourself the target goal and just. So another misconception or mistaken belief that we do is the knowledge gap. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do. We like to stay in that mindset because it kind of gives us a free pass. If you crave deep connections, deep, meaningful relationships and want to go beyond the surface into your relationships with yourself and others, you must not use this as an excuse anymore. You choose where you need or where you want to grow, how you will grow, and what you need to learn in order to grow. You put in commitment and dedication every day to that goal. How fast you get to that goal is up to you too. So you're able to completely take control of your life and acknowledge areas that you need to grow in. And that's all you need to know. The knowledge is finding one spot in your life that you want to grow. And you say, this is what I want to work on. And this is how I'm going to work on it. I mean, there's Google. Google, how can I have better communication? Then you say, okay, so I'm going to pick this one thing on how I can communicate better. And then I'm going to start doing that. So a lot of times we communicate better by not interrupting. So then maybe for the next 6 months, you work on when someone speaks, you just listen. Wait 5 seconds until they're done and then you talk. So then you have got your growth plan set. You can no longer say, I don't know how to do this. You create a plan and you work towards that goal. And in turn, it's essentially like a snowball effect. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and you will acknowledge more things as you grow that are not only getting better by that one thing that you changed, but then you say, oh wow, that was so effective. Now I'm gonna pick this to start to work on. At the end of it all, you will see a massive difference. And I encourage you to start this. You can start it small for 6 months. I say a year, and it's a year of positive changes in your life, but you're just being more conscious and more intentional with it. You will wonder why you didn't do it sooner. You will see opportunities for growth around every turn and corner you make. Everything becomes a learning opportunity, and even in negative situations or situations that would have before caused you to have anger or negative feeling or emotion, you will use that as an opportunity to challenge yourself and to redirect your thought into a more positive way to benefit you and your new life that you want to live, which is a life of your full potential, a life of opportunity, a life of success. You stop taking stuff so personal and you realize that other things that you don't intentionally choose aren't about you. Someone's anger isn't about you. Someone's judgment is never about you. Someone's choice, someone's success, it's not about you. So when you start to realize that you are the only one that can control your world and your reaction is only your fault, whether it is negative or positive, you can blame it on people all you want. You decide to create the life around you. My world began to open up when I shifted and I started really chipping away at things that I realized didn't serve me, that I had been entertaining my whole entire life. I started to accomplish more. I started to feel better. I started to feel less tired. I started learning more about myself. I started noticing the people that I wanted to keep in my corner and the people that really weren't serving my new mindset, my new life. And I am so thankful that I made that intentional, conscious choice of growth in my life, because then it overflowed into my husband's life, into my kids' life. I'm hopeful that it will continue to radiate into everyone else's life around me. Timing. Timing can include, I don't have time for that right now. Now is not the right time. That takes too much time. The reality of it all is you will never get anything done unless you start. The longer you take to do something that you should do now, the greater the possibility is that you will never get it done at all. Anytime we start something new in our life, we aren't the best at it. whether it be a career or even in a relationship. When that happens and you're put under a microscope, if you don't conform and really challenge yourself to become better or do it the way that they need to be done for you to get it done in the effective way for that particular job, then you're going to go against what you need to do to grow. Make sure that you take opportunities of the newness of something and realize that you may not know everything you need to know. You think that you're prepared and you might not be as prepared as what you think. Taking it in, challenging yourself, thinking before you speak, realizing that maybe you're not where you need to be, or maybe this isn't the great way to do something. As time moves forward, you will learn new ways to do things that are more effective than the way you thought. If you have a goal that you would like to reach and you realize that to reach that goal, you're going to have to be different or do something uncomfortable to get you to that goal, you may be feeling a little anxious, and that is normal. Growth is uncomfortable. That's why the famous quote, you never grow in comfort zones. Really just take it all in and be a sponge. Have a servant mindset and realize that really listen and learn from people and things that you thought you were prepared to do. Growth is not a comfortable thing, but growth does not come from comfort zones. Your goal will never be met unless you start working towards it. That's the reality. The other reality to it is you have to start before you're ready. You'll make the excuses that we just named before that, oh, I'm automatically going to grow, or it's not the right timing, don't know how to grow. Let's not fall victim to that. Let's not put that on ourselves. If you don't start right now, or if you don't make that conscious choice, you're not going to feel ready. You're not always going to feel prepared. Sometimes you just have to jump feet first, figure it out as you go. That is the beauty of life. Everything just kind of hits us. We have to figure out how to maneuver through it. And in those times, we learn. We're able to take that knowledge and apply it to our life when rough situations come again. Use every negative or hard or uncomfortable situation as an opportunity for growth. Shift your mindset to where you see the growth and the opportunity in everything that is done to you or that you do. Possibly don't succeed, you still are growing. If you don't start today, I'm not saying you will never reach a goal. You will still reach some goals and you will celebrate them, and that will be great. But there will come a point in that growth that it maxes out, it hits the cap, and you hit a plateau. At that point, that's when questions will start. Why am I not growing? You have to make that conscious choice to not make excuses for why you're not growing. You are the only one that can help you grow. Once you make that conscious choice to grow intentionally, you will not only start to grow, but you will snowball, grow, and consistently start gaining momentum in the growth process. Opportunities will present themselves everywhere. So when you make that choice to start now and to just harness that inner knowing and harness that inner power that you have, and that intentionality becomes real, and you start to live a life of intentional growth and intentional potential, you will realize your goals will always be met. Boom, boom, boom. You maintained the growth mindset. The fear of making mistakes. We are all afraid to look like a fool. We are all afraid to look like we don't know anything. So you get these new people that come into the job and they are Mr. Know-it-all. They have already been there. They've already done that. They already know how to do that. I can guarantee you, if you have someone like that, or if you're like that yourself, you would not be in the position you were in, or they wouldn't put themselves in the position they're in to be low man on the totem pole if they knew all that they claim they know. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid to say you don't know something, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable, Because if anyone makes you feel dumb for not knowing something or speaking out and asking how to do something, they have their own issues. Do not put that on yourself. Growing, in a nutshell, is messy business. It does not always feel good. You are going to feel uncomfortable. You will make mistakes while you grow. That's part of the process. You will learn a whole lot more than the mistakes that you'll make. Growing is admitting that you don't know everything, admitting that you don't have the answer, and admitting that you might know a lot less than the person beside you. Growing requires making mistakes. If you're normal, you will not enjoy feeling like a fool. To get into the growth, that's the price of the admission that you have to pay. There's a quote that I like, and it says, "What would you attempt to do if you knew you wouldn't fail?" You know, a lot of people would live a completely different life if they didn't have a fear of failing, if they didn't feel like they couldn't do it, if they didn't feel like time was an issue or that they were going to be inadequate in some way. If they had no fear, they would go with all the intention in the world. Fear holds so much of us back. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Everyone's not fit to push through that fear factor. It's understandable. If you mess up, it's literally messing up that one day. As long as you learn from that mistake, that's all you can do. John Maxwell talks about a thing, and he actually wrote a book. It's called Failing Forward. So as long as you are failing forward, meaning once you fail, that you are consciously acknowledging that you did not do something right and that you are willing to take the proper steps that you need to fix that, then that is failing forward. You are going upward, onward in a forward motion. You are making strides into the right direction. You are growing personally, professionally, emotionally, spiritually. You're growing. You are on the path to your potential and you are growing. That is failing forward. A requirement for growth is failure. Unfortunately, it's a part of the process. So just if you're going to fail, don't get mad, don't get upset, don't project your feelings of failure onto other people. Do not blame, do not victimize. Say, yes, I did fail. Accept it, acknowledge it, move forward, and get it out. And then just grow from there. Learn and take it as an opportunity that now you will never make that mistake again. Now that is power. If you want to grow, go ahead and get over the fear of making mistakes now. You don't get so mad at yourself anymore. Perfectionism. I have to find the best way before I start. You have to have it all mapped out. You have to have a plan of action, and that plan has to be followed through. Get that out of your head. I, of all people, love to plan. I would literally plan a 5-year projection if I could. You can't plan everything. You can try, but be flexible and have that mindset that things may change. Or the way that you plan them may not be the way that they go, and know that you have to be okay with that. Being in the present moment, being thankful for the here and now, being grateful for where you are and that everything is there working for you, but not expecting perfection moving forward. You essentially have it backwards if you try to plan the best way before you start trying to grow and better your life and grow as a person. You can make your plan more in the future as you go, meaning you start and then you realize, okay, this is what I need to do. And then you start accumulating and formulating a plan that now you have an idea and you can wrap your head around what needs to be done. Before you start, you really don't know what you need to do, how you need to do it, or how long any of it's going to take. To make this perfectionist mindset around it, it's only going to cause frustration at yourself. You're going to be stressed. You're going to have feelings of not being good enough or not able to do things in this right timeline or the way that they should be done. So get that out of your head and just start simple one thing and move forward with that. Don't put a whole bunch of stipulations on it because that will just cause unneeded frustration. As you move forward, a little bit more of the road is revealed to you. It's kind of like if you're driving and it's foggy. You can see maybe half a mile in front of you, but as that fog releases, you can start to see more. Your vision starts, you can see forward. You have a longer span of vision. That is what happens as you keep going. Your plan will start to unravel from the beginning of this process to 6 months in to 2 years in. Your goal, your dream, visions, they could be completely different and change multiple times in this process of becoming who you were truly meant to be and fulfilling your purpose. Another one is inspiration. The I don't feel like doing this. Well, guess what? No one feels like doing it all the time. You know, the really successful people that get up every day and they fight through don't have any more energy than you. Now, there are people that have hyperactivity. Most of the time, they come with ADHD, which means they can't pay attention. So that works against them. So maybe you don't have the energy, but then you pay attention. This person might have energy and not have a clue what you said 5 minutes later. So everyone has pros and cons and things that work for them and things that work against them. It's a choice again, intentionality, and you have to make that choice every day to get up there and go, even if you don't feel like it. Just do it. We hear it every day. Just get up, get motivated, just push yourself, go, go, go. Well, I have news for you. Motivation ain't gonna strike you like lightning. It is something you have to choose. Motivation is intentional. You have to intentionally choose motivation every day. That's what we do with our snooze button in the morning. If you fall victim to your snooze button, well, we all do sometimes, and that's normal, but you have to make sure to not make motivation a choice. Know that it is something that you have to do in order to get the life that you want. You won't always feel motivated, so you have to push yourself, and a lot of times, our body isn't going to be comfortable if we don't hit the snooze button. You're going to feel foggy. You're going to feel like you don't want to do it. Your head might hurt. You might feel dizzy. I at first felt very nauseous in the mornings when I started getting up really early every morning consistently. But then, as I kept going with my day, I would feel better and better. It takes 21 days to create a habit. So just know it might be really hard for the first couple weeks, but after you get through that hump, you're going to feel so revived, so much better, and you're going to be on the road to the person that you have the potential to be. You are essentially unleashing your potential when you get through that hump. The whole idea of motivation really to me is a trap. Don't get motivated, just do it. It's as simple as that. Motivation is a byproduct of just doing it. So if you do something consistently every day, you will get motivated. It's kind of like if you love something, you will essentially find happiness. You can't have one without the other. You can't have motivation without commitment. When you actively engage yourself in doing something, motivation kind of comes up and sneaks you because you start to see the results of your actions, and that in turn motivates you to want to do more because you're seeing results. The reasons for growing in the future will outweigh the reason to start growing now. Even the discomfort of growing in the future won't matter when you see how far you've come. So starting is the big thing. That is like the first step, and it's a giant leap. But then after that, it's kind of like a walk in the park. Is the comparing. I don't have the ability to do it like them. They do it better than me. They're better than I am all the way around. The expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this. I don't know any successful person that thinks growth comes easily or quickly. Climbing the top is not easy. And it doesn't matter what your top happens to be. If your top is just keeping your same position, just being a better person, that's okay. Growing as a person will start to open the door of opportunity. Preparation plus attitude plus opportunity plus action. Luck does not just happen, just like success does not just happen. You create your luck. It all starts with preparation. Unfortunately, preparation takes time. Just like packing for vacation. It takes a lot longer to pack for vacation than it does to unpack for vacation, right? If you want to reach your goal and fulfill your potential, become intentional about your personal growth. It will change your life.